Hey, magandang gabi sa ating lahat mga ka-safety. So, sa mga kasamahan natin sa ASEP or Association of HSC Professionals of the Philippines, we're about to start our webinar. So, kaya kung makikita nyo dyan sa ating screen, meron tayong comment box. So, pwede kayong, kung meron kayong katanungan or meron kayong gustong i-clarify, you can put on your feedback para or inquiries para mapag-usapan din natin during the webinar. So interactive tayo, pwede natin yang sagutin, okay? Anyway, I would like to welcome you for our webinar. Ang title po ng ating webinar ay Fundamentals of Job Safety Analysis. By the way, my name is Larry King. I will be your speaker for this webinar. So hopefully you enjoy the session or this event, okay? And I am very willing to share my knowledge about the fundamentals of job safety analysis for you. Okay? Uh, Bakit ba natin kailangan yung webinar na to? So, this is, in whatever we are doing, we need to find a reason kung bakit natin ginagawa yung mga bagay-bagay. Okay? So, this time, bakit ba tayo nagkaroon ng webinar? Ano yung purpose natin at ano yung ating intention? Okay, what is also your own personal intention or objective kung bakit ka uh, nag-join sa webinar na to. So, if you have lack of support from the top management, kung yun ang nararanasan nyo, so sa tingin ko, isa to sa mga rason kung bakit mo kailangan ng webinar, okay? Second one, if you are in an organization, thinking safety as an excess baggage, okay? Kapag excess baggage lang yung safety para sa mga sa organization nyo o sa company nyo, then this webinar is definitely for you. If you have people who are not participating in your safety campaign, so kung meron kang mga safety program, meron kang mga safety campaign, and you think that yung mga tauhan nyo is napakatitigas ng ulo, then definitely this webinar also is for you. And last thing is if you are in a company with a poor safety culture, parang ang safety is not a priority or is not being given attention, okay? So hindi naman kailangan na ang safety is a priority ng inyong company, pero at least they will provide some time and resources para i-consider ang pagmamanage ng safety or occupational safety and health ng inyong company. Anyway, based on these objectives that I have laid to you, sa palagay mo ba na dapat nandito ka sa webinar na to, kasama ka namin ngayon sa webinar na to? Do you still need this webinar based on those objectives? Okay, so pag sa tingin mo, kailangan mo tong webinar, then continue. If not, don't waste your time. You can unjoin with us anytime. Pero definitely you will be sad about it. Okay? Anyway, libre naman tong webinar nito. So, sa tingin ko, mas advantage kung i-try nyong matapos yung ating webinar. Okay? Yan, sabi ng isang kasamahan natin based on his comment, well, definitely, this will be an additional knowledge for us. Kaya mas magandang ituloy natin at tapusin ang webinar na to. Okay, thank you very much for your feedback. Anyway, what will be the objective of this course? So, number one is to understand the difference between JHA and thorough risk assessment. Okay, job safety analysis and thorough risk assessment. So, ano yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang ito? Okay, kasi parang iniisip natin, most of the time, yung JSA ginagawa na rin natin parang risk assessment. Okay? Now, the second one will be to understand the principles of a job hazard analysis. So, ito na naman, bago na namang katawagan ito para dito sa ating JSA. So, some other companies are calling it job safety analysis and some other companies are calling it job hazards analysis. Okay? Now, the third one is to understand the effective way of managing risk. Okay? Kasi ito yung pinaka-responsibilidad natin. We have to make sure that the risk will be managed, okay, by the company. Whoever generated the risk has a responsibility to manage the risk. Okay? So, fourth one will be to learn the concept analyzing residual risk. Okay? Yung konsepto ng pag-analyze ng residual risk kasi napaka-importante nito when in terms of controls. Paano natin masabi na yung controls ay sufficient enough na para doon sa pagmamanage ng risk na na-generate ng ating companies. Okay? And lastly, to gain skill in using risk matrix, likelihood, and severity skills. Okay. So parang sa tingin ko, bago ba sa inyo itong pandinig, itong panglimang objective natin. Okay? Type yes kung bago sa inyo yung itong ating panglimang objective for this course or for this webinar. Okay? Probably yung risk matrix, alam ng lahat yan. So either you're using 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, or 7x7, or 9x9 kung meron pang 9x9. But the likelihood and severity skills, most of the time, in 90% of the company, weren't using these skills, okay, when they are performing risk assessments. Okay. And lastly, to familiarize the control engineering and mitigating factors. So para mas maging familiar tayo kasi in JSA has to be done in the shortest possible time. Yung risk assessment, wala tayong magagawa doon. Risk assessment is very long. Okay? Because especially if thorough risk assessment, you have to make sure that every detail has been covered. Yun yung difference between the risk assessment and your job safety analysis. Kaya dito, when you are familiar already with your control engineering and mitigating factors, it is very easy for you to formulate or to put it in your job safety analysis. Okay, lahat ng mga controls na necessary, it's very easy for you to find out. So, hindi na natin actually very minimal yung ating analysis when we are doing job safety analysis, okay, or job hazards analysis. Pero kung paano, yan yung pag-uusapan natin about the course. Ngayon, paano natin ma-meet yung objective of this course? Okay? So, the topics that we will discuss is the assessment versus analysis, definitely. Because kailangan maliwanagan tayo about the difference between the two. Ano ba yung assessment at ano yung analysis? Okay? When most of the time, if you're going to ask this on safety groups, ang bibilis and especially yung mabilis talaga mag-Google. Okay, pag nakita nila sa Wikipedia or nakita nila sa somewhere in Google, the definition of assessment, they will just put it, copy-paste it in there, and then ganun din, copy-paste din yung sa analysis. Okay, so mukha nga namang alam na alam. But the point is, naiintindihan ba natin? Ano yung diferensya or pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Kasi para malaman natin kung ano ang tamang proseso ng paggawa ng bawat isa ng risk assessment at ng job safety analysis. So this webinar will definitely enlighten you with the difference between the two. Okay? Now, the second one will be your hazard identification and analysis because you have to analyze yung hazard and definitely before you analyze the hazard, you have to identify which is a hazard and which is not. Okay? Kailangan muna natin from the very beginning, you have to analyze kung alin ba yung hazard at alin ang hindi. Okay? So, yun yung ating pag-uusapan for this webinar. The third one will be your importance of risk registry in JSA or JHA. So, alam ba natin kung ano yung risk registry? So, sino nakakaalam? Yan, okay? Okay, so yan, marami naman pala nakakaalam ng risk registry. But anyway, we are going to talk about the importance of risk registry in terms of making a job safety analysis or job hazard analysis. Okay? So yun, pag-usapan natin dito yan. And fourth one will be our control system. Okay? Sa control system, paano yung, pag sinabi natin system, this is an approach, okay, or a program or set of steps, yung system, set of steps in providing controls. So yun ang kailangan nating pag-usapan on our fourth part of the subtopic, okay, of our fundamentals of job safety analysis. Now, fifth one will be the signatories in a JHA kasi marami rin nagtatanong yan kung ano-ano o sino-sino ba yung dapat na pumirma sa JHA. Okay, ang kailangan lang naman natin, sabi ko nga, from the very beginning, in whatever we are doing, we have to make sure kung kailangan ba natin ito or hindi. What is the purpose of doing such things, okay? So, kailangan natin maintindihan sino ba talaga ang dapat pumirma sa JHA, okay? And the last one will be importance of JSA in a PTW system or permit to work system. Ano ba yung kahalagahan ng JSA sa permit to work system? Bakit kailangan to? Saan to nagmula? Okay? Ano yung ugat nito? Saan legislation or standards or whatever references in terms of safety management system yung requirement of JSA or importance of JSA in a permit to work system. Okay? So now we have all the subtopics included in this fundamentals of JHA. The reason why we came up with this webinar is because most of the time you will see a lot of posts and comments that are unnecessary for newbies, especially yung mga aspirants pa lang natin, kasi matututunan nila yung maling konsepto, mapapasa yung chismis. Alam niyo yun, pag yung information is not the reality, okay, it's not true, okay, regardless of how many percentage of the credibility of the information, chismis pa rin yan. Okay, so pag naniwala tayo sa hindi totoong informasyon, ang tawag dyan chismis, okay? Masarap yun, pampalaman sa tinapay, yung chismis. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Ngayon pag-usapan natin yung job safety analysis. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, ang tanong natin dito, what is job safety analysis? Huwag nyo na akong bigyan ng paragraph or phrase to let us know about job safety analysis because on this part of the webinar, different approach ang gagawin natin. Hihimayin natin just to understand, okay? Just to understand the the main reason or the meaning itself of the job safety analysis. Let's try to look for the action, okay? Ano ba yung ginagawa or alin ba yung action na ginagawa natin dito sa loob ng job safety analysis? Okay, from the word itself, mapapansin natin yung third word, okay? Analysis. So we have to analyze, okay? That is the action that is needed to be taken in a job safety analysis. We have to analyze. Now, the question is, what are we going to analyze? Okay, what is the scope of the analysis? So, based on the phrase, job safety analysis, so we have to, the scope of our analysis covers the job that needs to be performed, okay? Yung kailangan nating i-perform na activity. So, ano ba yung trabaho? So, yan yung ating analyze, yung trabaho mismo, okay? But what is the specific aspect of the job that we are going to analyze? Quality ba? Safety ba? Okay, so, ang specific aspect na ating pag-uusapan or i-analyze in job safety analysis is safety. So, it's very simple. The action need to be taken is analyze, okay? And then the scope of analysis will be the job that is going to be performed and then the specific aspect na kailangan nating i-analyze sa loob ng trabaho o sa trabaho mismo is yung safety, okay? Now, bakit natin kailangan maintindihan ito in terms of definition, okay? Now, tingnan natin yung ibang katawagan ng job safety analysis. When we talk about job hazard analysis, alin ba yung mas tama? Job hazard analysis or job safety analysis? Okay, what is the action to be taken? The same. It will be analyze. Okay, we are going to analyze. Now, what will be the scope of analysis? Same, job. Okay, now what is the specific aspect that we are going to analyze in the job that is going to be performed? Hazard. Okay, ngayon, ano yung difference of the two? Let's try to look at this. Okay. What is the root cause of our problem in safety? So mag-umpisa tayo dito. Ano ba talaga yung problema natin? Let's try to look at the bottom. At the top part. Okay, yung ating yung ating surface level. ng safety. Ano ba yung root cause of our problem in safety? Ano ba yung problema natin sa safety? Definitely, ang problema natin sa safety are losses. Okay? Regardless of resources losses, losses in terms of monetary value, or kahit anong losses. Okay? Pero saan nagmula yung mga losses na problema natin sa safety? Sa accidents. Okay? So, ang problema natin, yung losses in terms of safety due to accidents. Okay? Ngayon, saan naman ang galing ang aksidente? Natural sa risk na na-generate ng ating mga activities na ito-perform, yung mga equipments na ginagamit natin, and at the same time yung ating workplace or environment. Okay? Now, saan naman ang galing yung risk? Ano ba yung nagdudulot ng risk? Okay? Well, akala nyo siguro, ang nagdudulot ng risk ay ang hazard. Okay? So, hindi. Ang nagdudulot po ng risk is yung immediate effect. Like for example, meron tayong hazard gun. Okay? Kunwari, yung hazard natin is yung balat ng saging. Nandyan lang sa daan. And then, wala namang nakatapak dyan. Okay? Walang nadulas. Meron ba mababalian? So, wala. Okay? Definitely wala. So ang dahilan kung bakit merong nabalian is because merong nadulas. Anong tawag doon? That is the immediate effect. Okay? Ngayon, saan galing yung pagkadulas? So what we're going to do, based on the activity, if a person is going to pass by a certain area, okay, or a passageway or walkway, na kung saan nandoon yung banana skin, okay, o yung balat ng saging, well, yun yung activity, okay? Because he need to pass a walkway, okay? Now, workplace. So, depende nga sa workplace. Yung walkway niya na dadaanan is merong poor housekeeping, okay? The waste material has not been placed in a designated trash bins. So, yun yung issue. So, meron tayong issue about the workplace. What else? Equipments. Okay, ano ba yung mga equipments na gagamitin natin? Probably, in my previous example, yung equipment mo lang na pwede mong gamitin dyan is yung suot ng sapatos. Okay, whatever type of your shoe. If yung shoe mo naman is, let's say for example, anti-slippery, so probably it may stop or prevent you from being slipped on a slippery floor. Okay? Pero pag pinag-usapan naman natin is, let's say for example, you're going to cut something like wood, okay? Now, ang gagamitin mo is yung power saw or yung gagamitin mo ay manual saw, okay? Hacksaw or whatsoever. So, depende, magkaiba yung effect kung gumamit ka ng power saw at magkaiba yung immediate effect kung gumamit ka ng manual saw. Okay? Now, saan nang galing yung immediate effect? Sino nag-cause ng immediate effect from these three factors or sources of this factor? Okay? So, natural nang galing ito lahat sa hazard. Ngayon, kung mapapansin natin, pag pinag-usapan natin is problema ng safety, ano ang root cause ng problema ng safety? Hazard. Okay? Kung hazard ang root cause ng safety, what does it mean? Okay, that when you analyze safety, you will also analyze the problem in safety. Ano yung problema ng safety? Your losses, okay? But what is the root cause of these losses? Yung safety issue natin, which is hazard, okay? So kung mapapansin natin, when we are going to make a job safety analysis, we are analyzing the problem in safety, okay? To provide solution. Now, the problem of safety, yung root cause ng problema ng safety, if we're going to solve the problem, we need to look for the root cause of the problem to solve the problem itself, okay? So, ganun din. So, job hazard analysis and job safety analysis, based on our analysis that we made a while ago is the same. Okay? So I can conclude now that job safety analysis is no different from job hazard analysis. Well, the scope is also the same. I mean, we just talk about the overall of safety, pero ganun din naman yung proseso na gagawin natin when it comes to job hazard analysis. We are going to dig the root cause of the problem in job hazard analysis because we're going to analyze hazards. In job safety analysis, the same thing. We are not going to look on the problem on the surface level. We are going to look on the problem on the bottom level. Yung root level talaga. Okay? So, walang pagkakaiba yun. So, it depends upon your company kung anong gusto nyong tawag. You can call it job safety analysis. You can call it job hazards analysis. Wala tayong problema doon or wala tayong conflict. Okay? So, do you agree on that? Can I see yes for yeses for those who agree on what is our conclusion based on our previous analysis? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, okay. So let's go. Let's move ahead because we only have a few minutes and we need to cover every topic that we promised to discuss in this webinar. Okay. Now, let's talk about risk assessment. What is the difference between risk assessment and job safety analysis? Okay? So medyo, ito na naman tayo. Parang siguro, a lot of you will, yan, okay? Ito, sabi ng kasama natin, bakit puro difference ata pinag-uusapan natin? Okay? Anyway, if you want to understand the fundamentals, you need to be familiar with the differences of anything that can confuse you in terms of the overall principle of the topic. Okay? So now, let's move on. Let's talk about assessment and analysis first. Okay? So bago natin intindihin kung anong pinagkaiba ng risk assessment at ng job safety analysis or ng job hazard analysis, intindihin muna natin ang pinag-iba ng dalawang action. Again, when we are talking about job safety analysis, the action to be taken is analyze, okay? When we talk about assessment, the action need to be taken is assess, right? Do you agree on that? Okay? Now, let's talk about assessment. In assessment, it involves weighing, okay? Probably you are weighing something. You are gauging, okay? You are measuring. You are counting. You are accounting, okay? You are evaluating and so on, okay? So, anything which deals about the exact number, exact value, exact cost, or exact count, okay? In terms of the figure itself, okay? That is assessment, okay? Let's say, for example, in a university, when you're going to enroll for a certain course on a particular year level, definitely you're going to proceed for assessment, okay? Para malaman mo kung magkano babayaran mo based on the number of units na kailangan mo. So merong mga references para malaman kung magkano yung babayaran kung ikaw ay first year level, especially if you are going to take certain subjects or certain unit of subjects. Okay? So meron silang mga reference materials. Pero ang pinakadulo in the sum of all things, when we talk about assessment is yung value or cost of your tuition fee. Right? So, figure. So, sa assessment pala, ibig sabihin lang, when we perform evaluation, you are going to get a figure which in terms of rate or rating. When you are weighing, you are going to get a value in terms of the weight itself, okay? And gauging and measuring as well. So, everything is about numbers. So, that is assessment. So, it involves mathematics in assessment, okay? So, ganun pala yung sa assessment. So, pagka nag-risk assessment tayo, ibig sabihin, there are numbers, right? Saan natin makikita yung numbers? Anybody? Correct, okay. Dun sa likelihood at severity and risk level. Okay? Sa severity, sa likelihood, we have numbers. Okay? We used to multiply the likelihood and severity, then makuha natin yung risk level. Okay? Good. Now, how about yung analysis? Ano yung mga actions that involves in analysis? Okay? Number one, matching. Matching. We have to match. Alin ba yung kaparehas nito? Alin yung pwede dito? Alin yung magmamatch on a certain reference? Okay? So yun ang kailangan natin. Matching. Pag nagmamatch ba tayo, may numbers? Wala. Okay? It depends kung ano yung i-match natin. Pwedeng i-match natin is number, but we are just going to compare if they are the same. So sa matching, we're just going to take the value or the information which is the same as what is our going to look for. Okay? So parang ganun yung point. Now, in comparing also, that is involved in analysis. Okay? We are going to compare probably, let's say for example, compare the result on a particular let's say indicator, and then you're going to compare with your benchmark. Okay? So, yung tinatawag nating benchmarking. Yung benchmarking, let's say, for example, a person is working for 8 hours, and then another person can only work on 4 hours. So, you are going to compare what type of people are there. So, from there, you can make your analysis and comparing. Okay? Now, referring. So, if you are going to use some reference, okay, so mag-refer ka and then make your analysis based on the reference, and that is also analysis, okay? Now, eliminating. So, eliminate natin yung mga less possible, okay, until we came up with what is the most probable or most possible. So, yun, eliminating, that is analysis as well. Discovering, so we are going to discover something based on the sets of information that is also involved in analysis. And extracting. Okay, when we say extracting, we are only filtering information. Okay, when we are filtering information, the fruit of the crop, that is what you are going to have. Okay, so I mean, in extracting, analysis din yung ating ginagawa. Okay? So, and so on. So, there's a lot of things na pwedeng na-involve in terms of analysis. But if you will see, the difference between assessment and analysis, walang numbers sa analysis. Okay? Pero sa assessment, mayroong numbers. You got my point? Now, tingnan natin. Sa risk assessment, kung may likelihood, severity, and risk level, meron bang numbers sa job safety analysis? Wala. Ano ba ang kailangan natin sa job safety analysis? Ang kailangan natin sa job safety analysis is to know paano natin masisiguro na safe yung execution ng trabaho in a particular workplace using a particular equipment. Right? Okay. Now, ano lang yung kailangan natin information? The sets of controls. Okay? Based on the hazard that you are going to that will be generated based on the activities you will perform, the equipment that you will use, and the workplace where the activity has to be taken place. Okay. Now, so what is our conclusion? Your analysis is based on your reference assessment. Tama ba? Saan magagaling yung mga controls? If you're not going to perform risk assessment and job safety analysis. So, meron na tayong risk assessment initially. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ang mauuna pala is risk assessment. Kasi naging question din yan some time ago yung sa isang safety group. Okay, alin ba daw yung mauuna? Yung job safety analysis or yung risk assessment? Definitely that is assessment. What are you going to analyze if you don't have data? You need to have data. Okay? You need to compare something. Ano ba yung i-compare natin? In job safety analysis, what we're going to compare? is kung ano ba yung ipiperform mo na activity. You are going to compare on your risk registry. Kapag nakita mo, alin dito yung kamatch ng aking activities doon sa aking risk registry. Kunwari, activity is welding and grinding. Later on, I'm going to elaborate on that. Magbigay lang tayo ng example para for the sake of this discussion. Okay? Kunwari, meron tayong activities na welding and grinding. Now, sa risk registry natin nakahiwalay ang hazard sa risk ng sa hazard ng welding, nakahiwalay din ang hazard ng grinding, okay? Pero ang activities natin ay both welding and grinding. So ibig sabihin, kunin mo yung hazards sa risk registry mo doon sa activity na welding, and then kunin mo yung hazards doon sa risk registry mo base sa activity ng grinding. And you compile that in your JHA based on what you define as your activity na welding and grinding. Okay? Okay. Later on, I'll discuss the whole thing, the whole process. Okay? Now, the question is, does it mean that your job safety analysis is based on your risk assessment? Yes. Okay? So, sa mga may violent reactions dyan, okay, you can raise your reactions right now. Okay, sa amin po, ang job safety analysis ay nauuna kaysa sa risk assessment. Okay? Well, I don't have anything to say about that. It's up to you, based on our discussion, try to check it from yourself in common sense, using common sense only. Okay? Na tama ba and how your job safety analysis will look like kung mauna yung JSA sa risk assessment. Okay? Alin ba mas kompleto? Natural, yung risk assessment. So, alin yung kailangan mo for the meantime? Yung job safety analysis. Bakit? Based on what job or task or activity that you're going to perform. Where are you going to perform? Yung risk assessment natin for the whole facility. Okay? The whole premises of your company. Pag pinag-usapan natin is sources of hazard based on workplace or environment. Pero kung ang trabaho na execute mo is sa isang parte lang ng location o premises ng inyong company, so do you need all the hazards based on the overall premises of your company? No. Kung saan lang. So, specifically, lahat ng nakasulat sa job safety analysis mo ay part lamang ng inyong risk assessment. Okay? Anyway, let's move on. Truth about a job safety analysis. We have to consider about this, okay? We have to don't forget about these things because it's very important. Okay? In your JSA, your problems are hazard. Automatically, we talk about that a while ago. And the effect of your problem is risk. Okay? Yan yung resulta ng iyong problema. Okay? Yan yung naiidulit sa atin. So, for example, ang problema natin is wala tayong trabaho. Okay? We are jobless. And then, ang result ng ating problema is we cannot provide for our family, right? Now, the third one is the solution of your problems are control. Natural. Kung ang problema mo hazard, ang epekto is risk, ano ang solusyon? Control. Okay? To prevent what? The risk to happen. Okay? Yung hazard, sometimes you cannot do anything about it, but the risk, you can do something about it. Definitely. Okay? Now, the plan for solving the problem is your JSA. Okay, what is the problem right now? The problem right now is I am going to work on an elevated platform, okay? I'm going to perform welding, cutting, grinding of a such pipeline. Let's say, for example, 8-inch pipeline or 12-inch pipeline. Ang elevation nyo is 12 meters. So, probably, baka mahulog kami. That's risk, okay? Now, what is the solution? Saan kami tutunto? Saan, anong access namin? So, what's the solution? Provide a temporary scaffold structure. Okay? So, something like that. Then, you can make an effective JSA without RA or risk assessment. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng makagawa ng effective JSA without a risk assessment. Now, sabihin naman ng iba, bakit po kami walang risk assessment pero nakakagawa po kami ng JSA? Yes, I did not say that you cannot make a JHA or JSA. You cannot make an effective JSA? Ngayon, ito yung tanong ko sa mga tao dito, okay, sa mga kasamahan natin or participating in this webinar. Kung wala kayong risk assessment and you are doing job safety analysis, okay, you are providing job safety analysis on each task or activities that you are doing in your work site, nakikinig ba yung mga tao nyo sa inyo? Kung hindi, well, this is the answer. Okay? Hindi effective o sinusunod ba ng mga tao nyo yung nakasulat sa JHA? Sometimes, when somebody is looking after them, kapag andun ang safety, pero pag wala, what happened? So wala rin. Okay? Anyway, let's move on. Ano ba yung mga sources of problems in safety? Okay, by the way, what is problem again? Ano ba yung problem natin sa safety? Yes, correct. Thank you very much. Good. Ibig sabihin lang naiintindihan nyo yung ating session for today. Okay? Okay. Anyway, what are the sources of problems in safety? Kung hazard yung problema ng safety, saan ba nanggagaling yung mga hazard? Saan ba natin nakikita yung mga hazard? Okay, hindi na natin kailangan pang ano yun yung definition that hazard is anything that has a potential to cause injury or damage to property and environment. Okay? So, saan nanggagaling to? So, ito yung mga sources of hazard. Number one is your activity. Kung ang trabaho mo ay, let's say for example, ang trabaho mo is gardening, natural, iba ang hazard sa gardening compare sa welding. Right? So, may hazard na nanggaling sa welding, may hazard na nanggaling sa gardening. So, magkaiba yung mga hazard. So, based on the activity. So, ano pa yung ibang sources of problem in safety or hazard? Workplace. Okay. Magkaiba rin yung hazard pag nagtrabaho tayo sa loob or sa loob ng isang facility or sa labas ng facility. Iba yung hazard pag nagtrabaho ka sa tabing dagat at iba yung hazard pag nagtrabaho ka sa disyerto. Right? Iba rin yung hazard kung ang condition ng iyong environment is malamig and kung ang condition naman ng iyong environment, ng environment mo ay sobra naman ang init. Okay? Nasa disyerto ka, let's say for example. So one source of problems in safety is your workplace. Okay? Now the third source of problem in safety or hazard, okay, is your tools and equipment. So kung gumagamit ka ng power tools compare sa gumagamit ka ng hand tools, so magkaiba din ang iyong mga hazard. So definitely, you have to consider all these sources of hazard when you are performing your risk assessment and job safety analysis. Okay? So, usually in job safety analysis, makikita natin, let's say for example, ang title of the activity or the activity to be performed is welding, cutting, and grinding of an 8-inch pipeline, okay, or pipe spool in an elevation of 9 meters, let's say for example. Okay? So, yun. So, lahat ng details, kung mapapansin nyo, andun yung welding, cutting, grinding as activity. Okay? Andun din yung workplace natin, okay? At kung ano yung materialis na tatrabahin, just to know kung ano yung ating equipment and tools that we are going to use. Okay? Pero, aside from this information from the title itself, meron pa tayong verification from the method statement or yung iyong work methodology. So, nakalagay din doon kung ano yung mga gagamitin mong tools and equipment. That's why, when you are making a JSA, it is very important to have the method statement of the work methodology coming from the performing party. Kung sino man yung magtatrabaho, they should have or should lay down yung method statement because this document will stand as evidence also on what they declared to use, what they declared to perform, and what they declare the type of environment that they're going to use. How many people are going to execute the job, um, the timing or whatever the information needed for preparation of the job safety analysis, makikita natin doon. But all the information is in a method statement and job safety analysis will be based only on these sources of problems. Now, in-identify natin yung problema, these are the sources of the problem. So, ang tanong, anong gagawin natin? Why do we need the job safety analysis? It's to solve the problem, right? Kung ang problema is hazard, if ang resulta nito is risk, then we have to mitigate the risk. Yun yung controls, okay? Control measures natin gagamitin. Now, why risk assessment is important in making JSA? Bakit yung kanina sinasabi natin, alin ba yung nauna, JSA o risk assessment? Bakit importante ang risk assessment? So, alam na natin ang mauna dapat is risk assessment. Bakit importante to? Number one, the JSA is a compilation of risk assessment of an activity, workplace, and environments, or equipments. So, mapapansin natin, assessment siya ng tatlong sources of problems of safety. Okay? Now, the second reason is, it is a process of comparing hazards to sets of hazards in a risk registry. So, ang paggawa pala ng job safety analysis ay base sa pagko-compare ng mga hazards, okay? Hazards, doon sa set of hazards na nandun sa ating risk registry. Ang risk registry kasi, ang nilalaman niyan ay yung risk assessment natin base dun sa tatlong nabanggit natin sources of problem of safety, okay? So, yun yung ating gagawin. So, magko-compare tayo ng hazard, okay, based on the activity, workplace, and equipment na gagawin natin or gagamitin natin doon sa sets of hazards na nakalagay sa ating initial risk assessment or yung tinatawag nating risk registry, okay, or talaan ng mga risk na posibleng ma-generate ng ating kumpanya. Okay? Now, the third reason is you need to conduct a risk assessment to have a safety analysis on applicable controls. So ngayon, kailangan natin mag-conduct ng risk assessment to have a safety analysis on applicable controls. Ibig sabihin, hindi tayo pwedeng basta lang maglagay ng controls based on kung ano yung mga naaalala natin, ano yung memorize natin, ano yung mga na-encounter natin controls. We have to make sure that the controls that we are going to provide in our job safety analysis is properly assessed kung sufficient ba. So, malalaman lang natin kung sufficient kung ang residual risk is in acceptable level or yung tinatawag natin as low as reasonably practicable or alert. So, everybody knows about alert, but how to use alert? Well, most of us do not know. Okay? Now, let's try to look at this. So, risk assessment flowchart. So, paano ginagawa yung risk assessment? Actually, this session supposed to be, we'll be talking about job safety analysis. But the point is, based on our case study, karamihan ng mga safety sa Pilipinas, we're not engaged, we're not introduced properly in the right way of making a risk assessment. So, bago natin matutunan yung, hindi nyo magagawa ng tama yung job safety analysis nyo as long as hindi rin natin magagawa ng tama yung ating risk assessment. So, at least, hindi man natin ma-cover yung, the complete process of performing the risk assessment, at least I'm going to share the flowchart for the risk assessment. Okay? So, number one, ano ba yung main activity? Kailangan natin malaman yung main activity. Kung welding yan, then welding will be the main activity. Then, the next one is the task sequences. Okay? Ano ba yung mga steps na ginagawa natin for welding? Ano yung unang-unang gagawin natin na merong mga significant hazards? Okay? Kunwari, magwe-welding tayo doon sa gitna ng disyerto. So, ano yung mga gagamitin natin? So, ano yung first step? Okay? Second step, third step, fourth step, until we finish welding doon sa disyerto. Okay? So, ang kailangan lang natin is malaman yung mga sequence. Kasi ito yung pinaka-importante sa sequences, okay? Sa task sequencing. Kapag nakaligtaan mo ang isang sequence, hindi mo siya na isama, and then meron palang mga hazard on what will happen. So magkukulang ang hazard identification mo. Pag nagkulang ang hazard identification mo, you don't know that there is a possible risk, okay? Because you won't be able to control a hazard, I mean a risk that will be generated from the hazard that is actually present but you miss to identify dahil wala kang control na mailalagay. Okay? You won't be able to perform the control. So what will happen? Yun yung rason kung bakit most of the time meron tayong aksidente. Okay? Other people can easily identify that. I mean, notice that after an accident happened. Pero before an accident happen or before the hazard exists, yun yung problema. Kasi hindi naman natin nakikita yung hazard. You cannot go to the site and just try to look around and look for hazards. You can find it. Most of the hazards are invisible. I mean, some of the hazards are invisible. We have invisible and visible hazards. Okay? So, yun yung point. Invisible hazards. Okay? May nagtanong dito eh. Okay? Ang invisible hazard is natural. Hindi natin nakikita. Like for example, we're working on a workshop, okay? Pero hindi natin alam what is underneath our workshop unless we have the schematic plan or diagram of the or layout plan ng ating workshop. Na alam natin na meron palang dumadaan dyan na 24-inch na pipeline, gas pipeline. Well, it's very delicate. I mean, it's very hazardous, right? Malaking problema yun. So, yun yung mga ganung bagay. So, most of the time, you cannot see. So, you try to walk around, you cannot identify all the hazards. This is my my tip for everybody. In risk assessment, you need to make sure that you identify 100% of the hazard in your workplace based on the activity and your equipment that you are going to use. Not doing so, definitely an accident may happen at any time. And we don't know when it will happen. Yes, but we can predict that. We can analyze it. Okay, we can analyze it, and we can analyze based on the likelihood. Malalaman mo kung kailan posible o gaano kadami ng aksidente na posibleng mangyari based on risk assessment of your likelihood. Now, malalaman mo naman ang intensity of losses based on the severity of your likelihood. And it's very easy to identify as long as you know the right process of performing the risk assessment. Yun yung importansya ng task sequencing to avoid missing a single hazard, okay, and prevent the accident proactively. Okay, let's go to the next one. After you identify the task sequences, you are going to analyze if there is a significant hazard. Okay, I used the word significant. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng significant? Simple lang. Kapag ang likelihood mo ay hindi zero, or ang severity mo ay hindi zero, that is significant. Nakuha niyo yung point? Kailan ba zero? Ibig sabihin walang risk. Pag nag-zero ang likelihood or nag-zero yung severity, walang risk. Kung walang risk, hazard ba yun? I'll give you an example. Kunwari sa isang sulok ng isang kwarto, okay? Wala namang dumadaan doon. Ang sahig mo ay tiles. And then may konting tubig doon sa dulo. So, kung iisipin natin, if a floor, or especially yung tiled floor, kapag may tubig yan, madulas yan. So, isipin natin, pag may nadulas dyan, posibleng may madulas dyan, okay? Maaaring may madulas, yan ang isipin kagad natin when we talk about water spillage on the tiled floor. Pero, kung walang dadaan doon, nasa sulok na, wala naman dadaan doon. Bakit? Kasi may mga obstacles at saka wala namang kukunin sa sulok and hindi naman enormous yung amount ng tubig para naman pumalat siya on the pathway or walkway of a person. So, ibig sabihin, kung walang dadaan, meron bang madidisgrasya? May ma-aksidente ba? Wala. May madadamage ba? Wala rin. Bakit? Kasi wala namang nabasa kundi yung tiles. Minamap pa nga natin yun. Wala namang problema mabasa yung tiles Waterproof yan Okay? So kung walang likelihood and walang severity, ibig sabihin walang risk. Kung walang risk, hindi siya hazard or hindi siya significant hazard. Bakit mo ililista para solving? Ibig sabihin problema ba? Yung ibig sabihin ng significant hazard is kung problema ba yung tubig na yun. Problema mo ba yun in safety? Definitely no. So bakit mo sosolving? Huwag mo na isulat. So hindi siya significant hazard. That is what we're trying to point out, okay? Now, immediate effect. Ito yung kaninang pinag-uusapan natin about doon sa sa pagtitan kasi ng hazard and risk. Most of the time, you are only considering hazard and risk. After hazard, you have risk. But what is in between? That's the reason why kung bakit meron tayong confusion kung alin ba yung hazard. When I used to ask a lot, most of the people in my training sessions or whenever I'm in a meeting, and even in my previous company, nung pagbago lang ako, when I used to ask them, give me 10 example of hazard in confined space. Okay? They will say asphyxiation. What else? Asphyxiation is not a hazard. That is the result. That is the immediate effect. Kung nagkulang ka sa oxygen, if you have oxygen deficiency, possible asphyxiation will be there. Okay? Ngayon, resulta ba yung asphyxiation? No. Anong resulta kapag ikaw ay na-asphyxiate o kaya hindi ka na makahinga? Death, fatality. So, ibig sabihin, ang resulta ng asphyxiation is fatality, that is risk. At ang iyong asphyxiation will be your immediate effect. At ang hazard or cause of asphyxiation is oxygen deficiency. Get the point? So, yun yung purpose of having the immediate effect in your risk assessment. So, nasabi ko na rin lang, after immediate effect, definitely you have your risk. So, hindi ito yung risk level, iba pa yung risk level. So, risk pa lang tayo. So, kung asphyxiation, ano yung maximum level of risk? Dito nilalagay natin maximum level of risk. Okay? So, yung fatality. Now, after your risk is your likelihood. You have to measure your likelihood. Actually, there are several factors. Usually, ang ginagawa ng karamihan kapag nag-identify ng likelihood, titingala lang sa kisame yan at pakikiramdaman kung ano yung gut feeling niya, kung ano yun. Let's say, for example, this matrix is 5 by 5, okay? Feel ko 4, feel ko 5, feel ko 3. Pwede bang feel ko dito sa risk assessment? Di nagkakalukuhan tayo. Paano mo pa malalaman kung tama o sufficient yung controls mo? Ibabase mo yung analysis mo doon kung sufficient yung control doon sa iyong residual risk. Ang residual risk is in reference with your likelihood and severity, yung original, before controls. So, kung mali na yung before controls mo, yung assessment mo before controls, definitely mali din ang iyong assessment on your residual risk after controls. So, walang kasaysayan ang risk assessment mo ginawa. How much for yung JHA mo? Then, magtataka ka kung bakit may nauulog, may nag-collapse na scaffold, may na-aksidente, and then ang sasabihin mo, hindi sinunod ng top management. Actually, the problem is nobody knows in your organization how to perform this assessment properly. Ang problema, who is supposed to know? Who is supposed to know? Who is supposed to know the risk assessment, a proper way of doing risk assessment? 1074.2 para sa mga nasa Pilipinas or ILO OSH 2001 3.3.2G. Nakalagay dyan, yung safety daw is a consultant or advisor in terms of overall safety management system. So, ibig sabihin, ikaw ang mag-a-advise kung paano ang tamang paraan para ma-mitigate nyo or ma-control nyo yung risk or ma-manage yung risk. Ang paraan lang naman na meron na schematic approach to manage the risk is to perform the risk assessment. So, sinong mas nakakaalam dapat ng risk assessment? Sino magtuturo sa mga tao to perform the risk assessment properly? Sino ba yung consultant? So yung safety ang consultant. So ibig sabihin, you should know better than them. Okay? You should know how to perform the risk assessment. Kung hindi mo alam at titingala ka lang sa langit dyan, anong klase kang advisor o consultant? I'm sorry to say, pero 92% of the safety professionals right now do not know how to perform the risk assessment, how to identify the accurate likelihood and severity. Because they are not even introduced to severity scale and likelihood scale. Hindi nga alam kung ano yung mga factors in considering or calculating the likelihood, the likelihood level. Okay? Now, so nasabi ko na rin lang, severity yung ating sunod after likelihood. And the product of likelihood and severity, once you know the accurate level of likelihood and severity, that will be your risk level. Okay, let's say you have 4 and then you have 3. 4 times 3 will be 12. That will be your risk level. Now, after risk level, ano yung sunod? Most of the time, meron tayong inilalagay dito. Hindi ko na lang in-include yung ating significance level or priority level. Alin yung uunahin natin? Yung mataas, natural. High risk has to be prioritized first. So kapag ang iyong, let's say for 5 by 5 matrix, kung ang likelihood is 5, and then severity is 5, the risk level will be 25. Now, doon sa pagpa-priority ng iyong controls, uunahin mo ngayon yung may pinakamataas, okay? Compared to doon sa likelihood na 2 and yung severity is 3. And that will be equal to 6. Yung level ng risk level mo doon is 6 lang, okay? So, alin ang unahin mo solvent? Natural. Ingatan mo na may mamatay. So, doon ka sa 5 times 5 which is 25. Extreme yun. Okay? So, doon sa 2 by 3, probably that is only a medical treatment case yung magiging possible severity of the risk. Okay? Now, unahin mo yung i-prevent yung fatality. Baka mamaya naubos yung budget mo doon sa low level. So, malaking problema. Hindi mo na-solve yung extreme level ng risk. Okay? So, yun yung sa priority. Yun lang yung purpose of significance and priority level. Now, in controls, identifying controls. So, that will be based on the risk level and significance level of your risk. Okay? Now, after you have the control, you just need to know the category because of the hierarchy. So, alin ba yung dapat natin una? Kung hindi pwede yung nasa sa top, then go to the next level up to the bottom level. So, ang alam ng lahat, meron tayo, last resort daw is PPE. Matagal na pong panahon yun, expire na yun. Okay? Obsolete na yung last resort is PPE. Disciplinary control po yung ating pinakalas. So, kung alam niyo yung acronym ng Eric PD. Okay? So, I don't need to mention about that. You can search it from the internet. Yung hindi nyo lang po masesearch sa internet, pag-usapan natin dito sa webinar. Okay? Now, after the category, what's next? Of course, residual risk. Ano na ang maximum level of risk after malagyan mo ng control? Kung nung una fatality ang maximum level of risk, nung nilagyan mo ng control, ano na lang? May konting pilay na lang. And that pilay could be maybe the IP or injured person may recover after 2 or 3 days, something like that, back to work. So, mas mababa na yung risk level, okay? So, yun yung kailangan natin malaman. Ano yung residual risk? Kasi ganito yan eh. If you put certain control, okay, nalagay mo na yung control, and then, ang residual risk mo ay first aid, okay? Kunwari, ang likelihood mo ay, let's say, 2 out of 5. If you have 12, let's say you have 10 working months for the year, and ang likelihood mo is 2 out of 5, probably, meron kang, meron sa out of 5 accidents, 2 posible na magkaroon ng first aid. Okay? So, posible kang magkaroon ng 2 first aid. Now, kung based dun sa history of accidents mo, accident record, okay, or history of accident record, in a year, nagkakaroon ka ng 5 aksidente. Ngayon, ang likelihood mo is naging 2. So, you're expecting in a year, 2 lamang na anong severity? First aid. So, instead of yung extreme level, which is fatality or permanent disability, um, ang iyo na lang ini-expect na dalawang aksidente na mangyayari ngayong taon na to is first aid. So, ibig sabihin, yung sinasabi nating zero accident or 1 million safe mine hours, that is only a dream or drama. Hindi yun mangyayari because whenever, as long as meron kang risk, you can make it as low as reasonably practicable up to the lowest severity and lowest likelihood only. Ibig sabihin, 1 out of 5 in terms of likelihood and 1 out of 5 in terms of severity. Kung ang pinakamababa nyo is first aid case, then you are expecting 1 in a year, 1 first aid case in a year. So, paano ka magsi-zero? Okay? If you have 0 and you are expecting 1, okay? That is example only. If you have 0, no accident at all after a year, and then that is what we call properly managed. Okay? But yung pinag-uusapan natin sa likelihood is probability. So, probable na magkaroon ka ng isang aksidente na first aid case. Ibig sabihin ng probable, pwedeng mangyari, pero pwedeng hindi mangyari. Okay? You got the point. So, huwag kang magtaka, mali yung risk assessment natin kasi nakalagay dito, isang aksidente na first aid in a year, 0 naman tayo. Okay? So, nakuha nyo yung point. Good. Now, let's go ahead. Residual likelihood. Natural, para makuha mo yung residual risk level, magkaroon ka ulit ng reassessment. Yung residual likelihood and residual severity. Now, the product of residual likelihood and residual severity will be your residual risk level. Okay? Get the point? So now, maliwanag na ba yung risk assessment flowchart? Ngayon, let's go back to, let's say for example, okay, punta tayo sa job safety analysis. Okay, balik tayo sa job safety analysis, JHA. I will just show you this one. I'm sorry about the transition or animation whatsoever is this. Okay. Yan. Ilabas muna natin lahat. And I want to show you the title of the activity. Now, let's say for example, welding, cutting, and grinding of pipe rack structural support. Okay? Yung activity natin yung nasa taas. Let's say for example, this is a risk assessment for an activity. So, one source of hazard, right? One source of problem in safety is activity. What is the next one? What is the second one? Do you remember? You still remember the second source of problems in safety or hazard? Yes, okay, yung environment and or workplace and your equipment or tools and equipment. Okay, so ngayon, pag-usapan muna natin based on activity. Kung ang example mo dito is welding, cutting, and grinding, okay, so meron tayong sets of sets of hazard doon sa welding activity, then meron din tayong set of hazards doon sa cutting and grinding. So, yung dalawang yan ang kukuhanin mo at ilalagay mo ngayon sa JHA mo. Okay? So, do you need to think? No, you're just going to compare what is the activity to be performed, which is welding, and the another activity is your cutting and grinding. So, yan ay activity pa lang. Wala pa yung workplace. Ngayon, pag pipe rack structural support and that is elevated, that is your workplace. So, dyan papasok ngayon ang hazards based on working at heights or working on scaffold, probably. And then, yung ating tools and equipments, anong klase ng welding ang gagamitin mo? So, that should be precise. Kung gas cutting, kung ang cutting mo is hindi grinder ang gagamitin, or gas cutting gagamitin mo, then you have the third option. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, we are just going to compare, pick and match. Okay? Parang matching type lang. So, job safety analysis, you can do it very quickly. You can make a job safety analysis in an hour, in a 30 minutes time, as long as you have the risk registry completed. Ganun lang kasimple, wala ka nang idadagdag dyan. Definitely wala nang, meron pa bang iba na hazard sa welding? Let's say for example, ito na yung complete set. No, this is only for this session purposes. Kunwari nalagay mo na lahat ng welding hazards. Okay? Once nalagay mo na lahat ng welding hazards, and activity mo is welding, may welding, kuhanin mo lang lahat ng hazard doon. Kuhanin mo lang lahat base doon sa risk assessment mo, lahat ng risk lagay mo, and then lahat ng controls. Kasi ang importante lang naman sa JHA, aside from the hazard, is yung control. So, bawat hazard na to, meron na tayong risk, meron na tayong control. Kung mapapansin natin sa ating risk registry. So, kumpleto na yun hanggang dulo, meron din residual risk assessment. Para lang malaman natin kung sakto na yung ating controls. Okay? Ngayon, kunwari hindi pa, kunwari nalagay mo na yung sa activities din, kuhanin mo naman yung hazards mo and controls doon sa source of hazard, which is workplace, and ganun din ang gagawin mo sa tools and equipments. Okay? So, ganun kasimple ang paggawa ng JSA. Ngayon, kapag nahihirapan kang gumawa ng JSA, isa lang yung ibig sabihin. That's why, when I used to see a lot of posts in safety groups, okay, na may mga newbie po ako dito and then gusto ko lang po malaman kung paano gumawa ng JSA, or meron po ba kayong sample of JSA ng excavation or whatever type of activities. Okay? Ibig sabihin lang, ito lang masasabi ko, that company na nag-hire sa kanya is walang risk assessment. Ngayon, sino supposed to be ang magtuturo para magkaroon ng tamang risk assessment ng company na yan? Yung safety personnel. Okay? That is the reason why, why we came up, ASEC came up with this free webinar na ginagawa natin, because we want to help everybody. Hindi pa pwedeng porket newbie ka and safety officer ka, hindi ka marunong, then okay na. So, ang gagawin natin, we're going to help most of us, okay, most of those people who doesn't know and want to learn the proper way of performing his duty as a safety professional in their companies. Okay? So, kaya natin ginawa itong webinar. So, para maintindihan natin, kasi ikaw yung tumatayong advisor and consultant. You need to be in advisory capacity. Okay? Kung wala kang advisory capacity, paano ka magbibigay ng advice? So, meaning to say, you need to know these things. Hindi pwedeng hindi. If hindi ito malinaw sa'yo, what I will do, I'm going to post this in YouTube. Okay, in my YouTube channel. Pwede nyong panoorin para maintindihan nyo. But I'm sorry, this is not a perfect webinar. I mean, hindi ganun ka-perfecto yung ating itong ating webinar na to. So just mahalaga lang. Ito yung mahalaga. Ang mahalaga is nakapulot kayo ng bagong kaalaman na pwedeng makatulong sa inyo sa pagganap sa inyong responsibilidad bilang safety professional. Okay? But okay, let's move on. Now, another example. I'm sorry again. Probably this is going to take time again sometime. But anyway, yun yung point. Okay, kanina, ang pinag-usapan natin is yung sa hazard. Now, let's say for example, you need to put the controls already. Okay? So, paano yung... Hindi ko na nilagay dito kasi magiging mahaba kapag naglagay ako ng actual controls. So, I'm just going to put the sets of control. Okay? And... What? Okay, I'm sorry. I just... napabilis tayo ng konti sa pag-press. Okay? Anyway, ang ginawa lang natin dito is naglagay tayo ng control number based on the control set. So, meron tayong control set A, control set B, control set C. Okay? Tatlo lang nilagay nating sample. But in actual, in thorough risk assessment, there could be a lot of sets of controls. Depende nga kung alin yung siguro hindi ko nalang pindutin lahat. Baka kasi mapasobra. Yan. Okay? Now, Kunwari ito yung ating controls for welding, cutting, and grinding based doon sa ating nakita. Kunwari yung unang set natin kanina is welding, that will be control set A. So ito yung mga controls doon sa hazard ng welding. Now ito ng control set B, yan yung controls doon sa hazard ng cutting and grinding. And then control set C, yan yung controls doon sa hazard ng gas cutting. Okay? Now, since kinuha mo yung hazards doon sa welding, kukunin mo din yung control set ng iyong welding hazards, okay? Yung welding hazards mo, yung control ng welding hazards mo, kukunin, ilalagay mo din sa yung JHA. So, lahat ng nakalagay ditong control, let's say you have 1 to 6, pero this is for an example purpose only for this session, okay? Most of the time, if you have 7 hazards, okay, or 5 hazards, you might have 25 controls all in all. So, ganun kadami yung control sets. Okay? But anyway, kung nais nyo yung naintindihan mas malalim yung risk assessment, mamaya ipapaliwanag ko sa inyo paano nyo mas maintindihan yan. But we cannot cover it in this much time only because we only have 60 minutes for this webinar. Okay? Now, control set B, lagay din natin doon. Kasi cutting and grinding yung ating, welding, cutting and grinding yung ating activity. So, ganun lang kasimple. You just take all the hazards, put it in your JHA, take all the controls based on those hazards. Simple, di ba? Ang daling gumawa ng JHA. Do you need to ask? Kahit nga newbie, pwede. As long as alam niya kung paano mag-compare and match and pick from your risk registry, wala tayong issue. Ito lang yung issue. If you don't have risk registry. Kung wala kang risk registry, natural, isa lang yung ibig sabihin nun. Your company is not certified by OSIS 18001 na ngayon is ISO 45001. Hindi rin yan certified ng ISO 9001. Otherwise, it will be asked by the auditors, okay? Kung sino man yung third-party auditor for certification ng ISO 9001. Unless, kasi yan naman, business lang din ang certification ng 9001 and 45001. Though, kasi kapag third party, wala silang customer kapag ibinagsak kayo, hindi kayo sinertify. Let's say, for example, in-audit kayo ng third party auditor, sinabi sa inyo, major non-conformance to. Hindi po kayo mabibigyan ng certificate. Okay, hanap kami ng ibang provider na third party certification. Sa kanila kami magkaroon ng, sa kanila kami babayad, hindi kami babayad sa inyo. Kasi you won't be able to certify us. Negosyo lang yun. So, kaya merong mga laro pa rin dyan sa audit. Kaya hindi pwedeng ipagmalaki na kami ay ISO certified company. Source. We know the play behind the third party certification providers. So, yun yung point dyan. Anyway, sila na yan. Let's go for the strategy for a JSA. Okay, ano yung gagamitin natin strategy for JSA? You should not miss any single hazard. Yun ang unang-una natin. Sinabi ko na kanina, di ba? If there are 100 hazards, you need to identify them 100%. Hindi pwedeng 99 or 98. Hindi pwede. Bakit? If you miss one hazard, simple lang. You miss to identify the risk, okay, that will be generated from the hazard. And based on that risk, usually there are 5, 4, 3 controls in one hazard or one risk. Ngayon, isa lang ang hindi magawa doon sa controls na yun na kailangan sana doon sa hazard na hindi mo na-identify, automatic accident yan. Nakuha niyo yung point? Okay. So, yun ang purpose. Kung hindi mo nakukuha yung, you are not doing not perfect, you are not doing an effective, you're not making an effective JSA, isa lang ibig sabihin, huwag ka na magtaka na meron kayong aksidente na nagugulat ka lang. Okay? And nagbiblame na lang kayo kung sino ang may kasalanan. Now, the question is, who has to sign and verify a JSA? Sino sa tingin nyo? Okay? Anybody? Yan. Yung job performer, okay? Yes, supervisor, foreman, okay? Kung sino yung authority doon sa trabaho, sino ba magtatrabaho? Kung ang kanilang leader ay leadman, then leadman, okay? Ang magsasign ng JSA, siya ang nag-prepare. Okay? Siya nag-prepare. Kung kung supervisor naman, din supervisor. Okay? Bakit? Because yun ang pruweba kasi na naiintindihan nung mag-executioner ng trabaho yung mga risk, yung dapat na controls na kanilang gagawin. Yan kasi yung proof na magpapatunay na naiintindihan nila or alam nila yung risk dun sa trabaho nila, dun sa location at sa equipment na gagamitin nila. Okay? Since pumirma siya, ibig sabihin, alam niya na kailangan niyang gawin lahat na nakasulat na controls doon. Okay? And ito yung point, by the way. Para doon sa toolbox meeting, natural ang magkakandak ng toolbox meeting yung kung sino pumirma sa JHA. Because the only thing that he's going to mention is whatever is written on the JSA, nothing else. Okay? Aside from the task sequences, okay, na nakasulat naman sa method statement or work methodology. That is part of the process that they're going to perform for the activity. Pero pag pinag-usapan natin is sa safety, ang kanilang pag-uusapan sa toolbox meeting, the topic should be whatever is stipulated in your JSA, yung controls. Kung nakalagay din is control 1A, control hanggang control 17, you have to mention that to your people. Okay, kailangan natin gawin itong controls na to hanggang dito. Okay? For welding hazards. Now, ito yung atong mga controls na to for cutting and grinding. So, kung maliwanag, okay, sign the attendance sheet for the toolbox meeting. That's it. Okay? What's to sign? Now, the work in charge. Okay? Yun yung sinasabi natin work executioner. Ngayon, after nyo ma-prepare, so to be submitted by, okay, sino man yun, yung supervisor or foreman or leadman or whoever. Now, sino naman ang kanyang kinopyahan or saan galing ang kanyang reference of this registry? So, kung doon sa area na yon, meron silang risk registry, okay, definitely. Kung sino man ang may hawak ng risk registry has to sign na ang ginawang GSA noong foreman is base dun sa risk registry nila. Nakuha yung point. So usually from the admin side or document controller or whoever. Pero pwede namang, yung iba kasi okay lang inaalis na, eliminate na nila yung risk registry owner. But if you want an effective management system, include them. Kasi walang makakalusot na bago pa dumating kung sino magbe-verify na tama yung nakalagay doon sa or kompleto ang nailagay na analysis doon sa job safety analysis or JSA, siguradong okay na dahil lang meron talagang actual na referencing na nangyari. Okay? Now, sino naman ang magbe-verify or mag-approve? Of course, kung sinong advisor. Yung advisor kasi baka may idagdag or baka makikita niya kasi kung kompleto ba ang nailagay doon sa job safety analysis. And kumpiyansa sa i-inform or sa sasabihin ng magkakandak ng toolbox meeting doon sa mga tao to be aware of the hazard that will be present on that particular time or particular activity or workplace. Okay? So, yun yung point yan. So, kapag okay na sa kanyang JC, tama yung pagkakagawa, then there is no problem anymore, then he has to sign kung sino man yung safety advisor. If you have a hierarchy in your department, the safety department, meron ka manager, then kung sino man inassign ng manager, let's say yung superintendent or safety engineers or safety supervisors, pwedeng pumirma. So, depende. Okay? Pwedeng manager, pababa. Now, what is the importance of a JSA in a PTW? So, work permit system. Ngayon, ganito kasi yan. Okay? Doon sa employer's responsibility, kailangan natin daw mag-provide, yung employer kasi kailangan mag-provide ng safe workplace sa kanyang mga tauhan. Okay? Kailangan mag-provide ng safe workplace or safe working condition. Yung from the activities, all the risk that will be generated para doon sa activity, doon sa workplace na yun, must be mitigated or managed. Now, let's say for example, I did delegate somebody for a particular area. O yung tinatawag nating area owner. Okay? Yung area owner na yun, ang may responsibilidad na mag-provide ng safe workplace. Okay? So, nag-provide siya ng safe workplace. Okay? Now, kaya lang, may mga condition dahil hindi naman talaga non-hazardous yung workplace. So, hazardous yung workplace, especially kung magbibit-bit pa sila ng external hazards like yung hazards na mag-generate ng activity. Okay? External hazards na mag-generate ng equipments at tools na gagamitin nila. So, that has to be stipulated in your JSA. So, and method statement as well. Ngayon, kapag na-stipulate doon, and I am very sure na lahat ng kanilang external hazards na dadalhin doon sa workplace will be under control, and I am the one who ensure that the workplace environment is the risk is under control also, then that is the time that I will allow them to work, okay, on my workplace or dun sa area na yon. Ngayon, to allow them, so meron tayong work permit system na sinusunod, yung PTW. Now, ang isang paraan for me to assure na mitigated or will be controlled yung mga hazards, yung external hazards na magdadala nila base sa activities and doon sa tools and equipments, yung JSA. Okay? So, kapag meron silang JSA at nakita ko doon na may perma naman yung aming safety advisor, agree siya dun sa nakasulat doon, naintindihan ng mga tao, naintindihan ng gumawa, okay, kompleto yung signatories, then that is the time that I will allow them to work on my area if I am the area owner. Okay? So, ganun ka-importante yung JSA. Ngayon, ang problema, kung hindi tama yung JSA, kung hindi siya effective, so ano nangyayari sa PTW system? Drama din lang ang PTW system. So, ganun ka-komplikado yung safety management system all in all. I mean, overall. Okay? Anyway, that will serve as a proof of understanding about the risk involved. Okay? So, yung risk involved doon, nakalagay dyan sa JSA. So, that will be the proof of understanding. Now, proof that the risks are manageable. Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina. Okay? Proof of agreement on terms and condition of work. Ito yung importansya ng JSA doon sa PTW system. Okay? So, hopefully, naiintindihan nyo itong parte na to. So, kung walang JSA, walang tamang JSA, hindi rin tama yung inyong PTW system. Kung hindi effective yung JSA mo, hindi rin effective yung PTW system. Definitely, yung safety sa inyong company, yung management of safety in your company is also not effective. Okay? So, hope you enjoyed the webinar. So, I think dito na tayo magtatapos. Probably, I will answer some few of your questions. Okay, ito. Sir, meron po ba kayong reference para mas maintindihan namin yung risk assessment at JSA? Okay, pasensya na kayo kasi we only have 60 minutes for this webinar, but I hope na meron kayong natutunan at meron kayong additional knowledge na magagamit to perform your duty as a safety professional. But anyway, meron tayo niyan. Meron tayo yan actually from our website. Kung gusto nyo ng digital copy, meron tayo nun. Okay? So, I think most of our participants right now, meron na yan. Meron ng mga nakapag-purchase. Anyway, before anything else, before I answer that, next week again, same time, same time and same day, same day of the week, on Saturday, 9 p.m., we will be having the next webinar again. That will be free. Ang speaker naman natin will be Irving, okay? Si Sir Irving. Siya naman yung i-announce din namin yung topic for the next schedule. So if you enjoy this webinar, hopefully we can have you again on our next webinar. So another speaker again from our group, yung Asset Group Association of Health Safety and HSC Professionals of the Philippines. Okay. Anyway, hope to see you guys on our next webinar and hope you enjoy. But to answer your question, you can visit this link for full details, yung prematoregroup.com product SESE. Okay? So, yun. Yung ating safety experts secrets, blueprints for your safety career. So, nandyan yung proseso, maiintindihan nyo ng mas malalim yung risk assessment. But now, at least, alam nyo na kung paano yung ating tamang paraan, kung paano gumawa ng epektibong JHA. And hopefully, alam ko na hindi 100% nakuha nyo yung mga points. But this is a good start para sa development of your ideas. You have to research, study, okay? Huwag sayangin yung oras. Prioritize developing your skills in safety if you want to be successful. Anyway, my name again, once again, my name is Larry King, and I would like to thank you very much for being with me in this webinar. Thank you and have a good night.